Everybody. My name is Dr. Lisa Costello, and I would like to welcome you to the Whippet Health Foundation YouTube channel. We decided to make a series of videos to try to help people navigate our database, which can be a little bit difficult, and to help people understand the true power of the database. In this initial video, I'm going to just go through a general perusal of the database to show you all of the different areas and different reports you can run and different things that you can do with it. Let's get into it. So you're going to come here to the home page of the Whippet Health Foundation, whippethealth.org. Get rid of that guy. And you'll have health information, research, grants, the different links that you can go to. Today in this video, we're just going to talk about the database. So you're going to click on that link in the upper left-hand corner, and this is your home page for the database. You are going to be logged in as a guest. Access level will be standard user. This is in comparison to over here, the data operators click this when we upload data and maintain and manage data. So this is all you need to worry about. There's no password necessary, no email address, no membership. You can get on the database anytime. I wanted to go over, you can click here for a list of database policies. Mainly wanted to go over who can submit data so that you understand that before you get involved. Anyone who owns, co-owns, or has bred a whippet may add or update data, but this specific. Breeders can submit data for their own dogs or those that they have bred. Owners can submit data only for their own dogs. Anonymous submissions of data will not be accepted. So if you decide to send me information on Sally's dog and you're not a co-owner, I can't accept it. Breeders can submit anything on the dogs that they've bred and that they own, but again, owners only on dogs that they own or co-own. The other thing I like to point out is that the Health Foundation will not be responsible for resolving disputes among co-owners regarding data being submitted. We've had a few of these. So if there's any issue with something that's going to be uploaded on this public database, it should be taken care of before you upload the data. Health information, let's drop down here. Health information is really the power of our database. And when it is submitted, it's classified as anecdotal until the owner or breeder, those are the only two people that can submit health information, until they provide us with an unaltered copy of a written report, so diagnosis or pathology or a veterinary record from a professional in the field. Once we receive that documentation, we change the classification to diagnosed, and I will show you that as we go along. Privacy policy, we don't sell your information, we don't give away your information. To provide the integrity of the database, our computers do record the fact that you've logged in. That is all kept with our web manager, Gary Galunas. Photos of dogs, encouraged. So let's go back to the database. And I'm going to go through each one of these tabs with you to show you what you can find here and how to search for things. So initially we're in the People tab. I'm going to look myself up. This is going to take me to my information display. I have chosen to have all of my contact information displayed. You have several choices when you upload info. You don't have to have any of it displayed if you don't want to. I didn't put my phone number in here because I don't want people calling me. I don't have a website. I don't have a kennel name. And this will show all the dogs that I have owned now or in the past. I have not bred litters, and I actually am a member of several clubs, but I've not updated this. Another way you could search for me, which would be kind of cumbersome, is to put in my name if I can type it right here for you. All kinds of leases, so that might be a little bit difficult. Country, let's say we wanted to see who is in here from Canada. All kinds of people, 10 pages worth of people. Let's say we wanted to look for Australia. A little bit less there. But this is a worldwide database, so anybody in the world is welcome to submit data. If you know my people ID number, which you probably would not know, you can also look me up that way. All of the numbers associated with dogs, litters, and people are assigned in the order that they are submitted. So there's no significance to the ID number that you have. The other thing I did want to show you is this database is pretty picky about how it searches for things. Snow. So let's say I'm going to look up the kennel Snow Hill. Okay, I know there is one, but it didn't come up because in our database, Snow Hill is 2 words. So it's Dr. Hughes, and we were able to find her that way. Now, if you did just type in snow, because it contains, oh, I'm sorry, I put that in the wrong field. It contains snow. It is going to find you that, and then also another kennel, Snowcap. So the people information is pretty straightforward. Litter information. So I'm going to use a dog from my past and show you all the ways we can look him up. His breeder's name was Philip Sr. So if I type in Senior's last name, this is going to bring up all the litters that he's bred. So that shows me the breeder. If I look up by kennel name, and Fantasy was his kennel name, then I'll find the litters that he's bred through that method of search. Let's say I wanted to look at litters born in 1995. And actually, his litter is in here, right there, my dog. So you can look up litters by year, specific whelp date. That was the only litter apparently that was whelped that we have in our database on that day. And then I could look it up by sire ID or by dam ID or litter ID if you knew that. So let's say you want to look up a litter, but you're not sure what any of that information is. You can put in well, this is found the sire. And this is going to show you all the litters that Elysian Nephew Perrier sired. Well, he's got 2 pages that are in the database. You can also look it up by dam. My dog's dam's number was 165. Okay, and she had 3 litters. Now, this litter is interesting. So in this litter, we've got a sire and a dam. Insemination was natural. Birth method natural. No other information in terms of males and females was entered, but we do have the dogs that were in the litter that we know of. Let's go back one. If we were to look at this litter, same thing, natural, natural. Now here, I knew that there were 4 males, 3 females, no stillborn, no neonate. So this gives us a little bit more information, total litter size 7. And then if we look up this, I just wanted to show, so the dam is in here, but the sire is not entered in the database. We don't have that information. So we just have that information about her. I can go back one and show you a little bit more information you can find here. So you've got a sire and dam. You can click to see them. You can also look at the breeders if they've been provided. Litters by the sire. I think this is kind of cool. If you're looking at a sire, you can look at all the information that's in there. This dog was used a fair bit. And then litters by the dam. And she just had 3. So litters, pretty straightforward. A lot of different ways you can look them up. Dogs. So this is really kind of the main part of this. I can spell right. There we go. So I'm going to look him up again. All right, so this is this dog's page. Again, he was a member of the litter that we just looked at. So that takes us back to the litter. This is going to give his information if it's been provided. Now, another thing I want to point out is a whelp date is only going to be in here if the litter has been entered. And we'll go through that in the video when we talk about entering litter information. But we don't freehand enter whelp dates. They have to be entered as part of a litter. He's iris marked, gives his height and weight, color, scissor bite, no missing teeth, eye color, and the death date. So I'll show you how we got that when we get to health. I want to go through each one of these tabs. So obviously these are the photos of him. He's a handsome fella. Let's look at his relatives. So this tab shows you the sire, the dam, and then it's going to show you full sibs. So these are the dogs in his litter. And these are half sibs by sire and half sibs by dam. This tab is going to show any litters that he sired. So he was bred 4 times. And I have as many of the puppies in here as I can. And then obviously each one of these you could click on to go to their information. So litter sired by him. This tab is certifications and tests. So this is where I had echocardiograms done, I had his eyes done, I had hearing testing done, he had his hips, the myostatin test done. This is where we enter what I would call quote unquote normal tests and certifications. And at the time that we were doing these this was his number in the Whippet Health Foundation study. So that's what that means. And let me just show you. The first one that he had was normal, so I uploaded this documentation from, he was in the very beginning of the cardiac study that we did with Dr. Steppen and Dr. Callahan from University of Wisconsin-Madison. And then he developed a murmur, and so his form changed a little bit, and I uploaded proof of what they found, and then I also put it over here, murmur abnormal echo, here's the dates, and then see health record. Let's go to that. And this is just going to show that he had a murmur. But let's go back to tests and certs. So this was when SURF was actually in play, not the current OFA care. And this would be, oh my God, that's an old SURF form. So that was what his SURF form looked like. I uploaded that. And then this was a year that he actually failed SURF. This was a year before he died. He was 13, and he had a punctate cataract, significance unknown, probably senior, but he did fail. And so I did want to put that in so that people could see that. Myostatin, proof of that test. So basically, when you upload your current OFA forms, this is where they go. I'll take you to another dog after this and show you more current ones. Health information, this is what we're after. This is really what we want to try to capture in this database. This is what's going to give us the best idea of the health of our breed and how to continue to maintain it or help it or research it. So we talked about on the initial database policies, anecdotal versus diagnosed. So first, let's look at this top one. So this was the reason that Wyatt was euthanized. Basically, old age is not really a diagnosis, but it is. He was weak in the hind limbs. He really couldn't walk very well anymore. Weight loss, overall weakness. There was nothing specific. He didn't die of mitral valve disease. He didn't die of renal failure, but he got old. And so I was able to say that, yes, he was euthanized on that day, and that's what generates his death date up here. So this was my decision. I didn't have a record of it. Cognitive dysfunction. He started to have some issues at night, and I put this in case there are other owners who maybe were having the same problem. I put in the drug that we used, and again, I didn't keep records on this. He's my own dog. But we did have the punctate cataract, and this was the form from SURF, why he failed. So proof there. And then the other thing I wanted to show you was he had a thyroid carcinoma. So this was about 2 years before I lost him. And describing the lump that was palpated, radiographs, surgery, histopath. And to document this, I went ahead and uploaded histopathology. So this will be changed from anecdotal to diagnosed. And hypothyroidism, again, what he was on, and then a view of the blood work that showed he was hypothyroid. So health information, we can get a lot of detail here. There will be a video in detail going into how to enter this information. Additional information on this dog, if he were to have multiple registration numbers, let's say that he was born in Canada or Australia or Europe somewhere and has a different registration from a different kennel club, it would be put here. This is his only one from the American Kennel Club. I did have a DNA profile done on him, and I did upload it. He was microchipped. That was his chip number, who it was registered with, chip location. And then he also was tattooed on his inner right thigh. Comments we don't use very much. Sometimes we'll get comments if there's problems with the record, or you get comments from all kinds of things. But this is actually not a field that we use much. The people tab shows who his owners and breeders are. So if we have multiple owners, we'll put them in, and usually we'll put where the dog resides if we know that information, and then who the breeder was. And then lastly, pedigree. If I wanted to look at a pedigree of him, and the information about all of his relatives are in there, so this is somewhat like the Whippet archives, you can get all of this. And the other thing that's kind of neat about this is if there's health information, it's actually going to be attached to the record. So that's about it for looking at dog information and what all the tabs show you on the dog info. Vet information is pretty clear cut. We're going to look at one of our favorite doctors, Dr. Callahan, who is from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. She's one of our cardiologists. And if people submit information on their veterinarians, we will put it in. For the most part, we usually utilize this to attach examiners to the health certifications. And then reports. This is something that I'm going to go through in a different video, but you can run reports on health. Well, let's do it right now. We'll go ahead and look at dogs that have, let's see if there's any dogs in here that have Addison's disease, and there are. So we're able to search on just a disease. It's going to bring up these dogs. Thank you to these dogs' owners for submitting this information. It's going to tell you whether the dog's deceased or alive. And this dog, they submitted the information and also a documentation of what proved that it had Addison's. This dog did not submit that the record, but they did show when he was diagnosed and what was treated with. So you can find a whole range of information that's been submitted. But again, it's anecdotal until we actually have proof. So here's another one, what they were treating the dog with, and then a document. This is actually a record from the veterinarian. So we will put in all that we can showing the diagnosis so that the records are complete. Okay, let's go back to reports. Let's say that we wanted to look at dogs evaluated by a cardiologist. Hopefully they're testing a heart. And dogs that had, let's look at, so this is going to show dogs that did have an echocardiogram by a cardiologist, mitral valve disease moderate. It's a little tricky because we've gone through a number of different ways to describe mitral valve disease. And so we've got a few different ways to search for it. Well, let's look for another test. Let's say we wanted to find, let's just look for myostatin deficiency. Let's say we wanted to find carriers. Here would be a list of dogs that have been tested for myostatin and what the findings were. So let's see. That one did not have an uploaded form. So this dog did. So we can see there he was listed as NB carrier. Reports have a lot of power. You can actually do test matings. So I wanted to show you one of these. And it says if it doesn't display, click here. So this would show a test mating between these two dogs. Doesn't show pictures of most of the relatives, but does show the siren down. Owner report. Let's say that I want to look at Connie, Dr. Connie Bronco. It's an owner. Bring her up there. Let's look for a full report. Again. And so this is going to show a report of all the dogs that she's entered that were hers, their health testing. She is so good at entering data. Their, health testing, certification testing, all of the dogs under that owner. Could also be done for breeder report. So we'll look up Dr. Hughes, Snow Hill. Do a brief report for that one. This is going to show us dogs that she's bred. Yellow shows the litter, siren down, and the resulting puppies. I'm not sure why you would use these reports, but they're in here. Okay, probably enough about reports. Probably the main thing here, this is going to be a different video because these are all fairly involved. So showing you how to submit information, individual dog, litter submission, personal information, and how to send in supporting documentation. So we will do that in a different video. And the other thing I want you to remember is that all of the data that you submit is sent to the data operators. This is not a live database like the Whippet archives. So when you enter information in this database and you hit save or upload, it doesn't automatically go live. It is sent to the data operators so we can review the data, check for mistakes, see if we have any questions. When we upload documentation, we usually resize it. Dog photographs will often crop to the dog. So we do a number of things before we upload the data to keep it as accurate as possible. And we're all volunteers. So it isn't an immediate thing. We try to get to it as soon as possible, within a few days as soon as possible. But depending on our schedules and how many people are working on this and how much data we get can determine how long it will take to be uploaded. So that's about it for this edition, our very first video to go to our YouTube channel. I wanted to show if you have any questions, you can go to the homepage. If you don't know how to contact me, which I'm in the database now, so you do know, you can send comments to Whippet Health and those will come through to the data operators. I am one of them. And we welcome any questions that you have. Our goal is to try to keep Whippets healthy and to help their owners do that. So questions you may have, anything that you need to ask, you can contact us and we are glad to help. Thank you so much. We'll see you the next time around.